What's going on YouTube? It's Bogle here. Today we are going to be talking about this case that we talked about in a previous video. If you haven't seen that first video, I'll put a link to the bottom to make sure you get to it. But in that video, we talked about exactly how we went about making this case here. I have made a few more since then, and in that process, I found substantially easier ways to do some of the things we talked about in the first video. So I'm going to put a link to the video, the first video, to make sure that you've seen that and you're up to date on that. I highly recommend watching that first. So if you haven't seen that first, go and give that a watch, because we are actually going to build on that first video and talk about ways of doing things even simpler and even more effective. So in the first video, we went over every step on how to do this. We talked about constructing the shelves, doubling the boards, adding the backdrop, adding the lights, adding the glass, adding the framing for the glass. So while doing these other two here, I really thought there's gotta be an easier way to do some of this stuff going on. I realized in some of the comments from the first video that if some people were having some issue with adding the black trim to here, my first suggestion in the first video was, and this was because I had this laying around my house, but I actually used 24-inch wide matte black vinyl from vinylcutters.com. I do have a vinyl plotter. I do some vinyl decaling myself. So being that I had that around, that's what I used. It was the perfect color. It was the perfect texture. It was everything I needed. So I actually cut the strips that I needed for the glass here and shared that in the first video, but realized later on that that's kind of asking a lot of people to do. So that's asking a lot of people in hindsight. So not everybody wants to order a 24-inch wide piece of vinyl and then cut the strips and then add it and all that kind of stuff. So I heard you loud and clear, so I thought of an alternative to do that. So in these two cases here, as you can see, they look pretty much identical, but one took about half the time that the other one took. So what I did was, with the trim on these new cases here, I actually went to the Home Depot down the road from my house and I found 1.5-inch wide black vinyl electrical tape. I picked this up, brought it home, and compared it to the black vinyl on this case here, and let me tell you, it's identical. You cannot tell the texture difference. It did say on the tape that it's a black vinyl tape. It was matte finish, which matches the one I did originally here. So I grabbed it and it was only $7 for a really thick, big roll of it. That one, I still have a little bit left, but it took care of both of these two new cases. So I did everything else pretty much how we did with the first video. I added the glass with the Velcro. Then I went back and I took that electrical tape and I actually just ran it down the edge here. I didn't have to cut anything. It's all exactly the same. It's all extra clean and just looks pretty fantastic now that I'm looking at it now. So I am gonna put a link to the exact tape that I use so that you can guarantee to get this exact look by using the exact same product. That way you don't have to worry about yours being a little shinier or a different texture, different width, anything like that. We did use 1-inch Velcro on our acrylic here, so they didn't make 1-inch electrical tape. It's only in 3/4, and that wasn't gonna work for us. But I did notice that they made one that was twice as wide, 1.5 inches, and it was absolutely perfect. So grab that. And so that's the first little quick tip on how we did these two better, quicker, easier for all you guys. So I do read the comments, I do hear about what people discuss, and I do want to make this as easy as possible for everybody, because I'm not a handyman, I'm not a woodworker, I'm not anything like that. I'm a full-time artist, and that's what I do, but I don't build and construct things very much, so I'm going to look for the easiest way possible. And yeah, I figured let's just make this as most enjoyable and easy as possible for everybody who wants to do this. The next thing that I came across that made things a lot easier was in the first video. Let's talk about how we did it the first time. The fabric. Okay, so with the fabric, I basically put one end of the fabric underneath the top board here, ran it down, came back up, and then put the other end in the front of this board here. What I did with the excess was it rolls off the back, comes down, and then just comes right back up. So from here to here is one solid piece. Same here in all four corners. So from there to there's a piece, there to there's a piece, 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 piece. So I noticed that whenever I was wiring the lights up, it was very difficult to get my hand back here. I could scoot this over, scoot that over only to an extent before it wanted to start pulling out from the bottom here. So that was a kind of a pain in the butt. So when I went to do these shelves here, I was like, I really want to avoid that. Anything that was annoying with the first case, I wanted to go ahead and just try to figure out a solution for here. And I figured if I'm having an issue with it, you guys might have an issue with it too. So let's figure this out. So the next thing was with this particular case and this one over here, what I did was I cut a piece of fabric that was about 2 to 3 inches extra on all four sides of the shelf. And then I covered this one shelf, tucked the extra fabric in on the sides, laid that down. So the first thing I did was I covered each shelf with fabric. So at this stage, only the shelves are covered with fabric and there's no backdrop. Then what I did was took one singular piece of fabric, zip tied it to the spots up here on the top shelf, and then let it just fall straight down. You actually, when your figures or your statues or whatever is in the case, you actually really can't tell a difference at all because there is a seam right here in that back corner. So even though that's one piece and it folds, that's still a seam that you can't see. So over here, same exact thing. You cannot really tell that that backdrop is one singular piece and these 3 panels are one individual piece, or individual pieces rather. So that made things a lot easier when wiring the lights. So, or if I needed to get back there and make an adjustment with the lights, if one fell down and I needed to re-stick it, it was so much easier to just take this whole backdrop, scoot it to the side, clip it with a little pin, and do anything I needed to do back there. Not to mention, it didn't pull the edge from the bottom of that wood there. That was really annoying because once you get it all tucked in and it looks really good and you pull it out, you have to redo the whole thing all the way around. Pretty annoying, pretty frustrating. So let's try to eliminate that as much as possible. So again, I'm going to recommend covering each shelf with black fabric and then adding the singular backdrop there. It actually uses less fabric, so you're saving a little bit of money, and it makes things so much easier when you do need to get to the back for any reason at all. Those were the 2 main things that actually saved the most time and a little bit of money because you're actually using less fabric. But the amount of time that saved with doing these 2, I literally was able to construct and build these 2 in one day rather than this one taking me basically one day to do on its own. I then later, came back, I found all the glass, came back and did all that in a day. Finally got one set of lights showed up. This set didn't. This came in today. I got that going. So they're pretty much completed now. But yeah, I think that just those 2 adjustments with the vinyl framing and the fabric was such a big deal that it actually made me want to make an extension of the video just to really help you guys with these things. Again, I was hearing what people were saying, and I guess it was a little bit more tedious than people wanted to do. Being that I've worked with vinyl before, it didn't seem like that big of a deal. And then honestly, when people said, so what was the hardest thing about making this shelf? It was dealing with the fabric and it coming untucked from here. So I really wanted to figure out a way to make that simpler. So that's pretty much it. The only other thing I think I did that was different was with this case here, I was very particular about running the cords from the lights down here, zip tying it all the way down here and zip tying it. But really you don't see under here at all. I mean, you literally have to get down on your knees to see the top of this. So what I ended up doing with these guys here is I just simplified it and made my job a little easier. I actually stuck all the lights on and let the wires hang down, ran the wire from here. Here's 3 lights, 1, 2, 3 per shelf. So I took those and ran them straight into this corner here where the two shelves meet, there's a loop here from where the shelf wants to hook in. So I ran all 3 wires up into there, into that one spot, right into the power supply. And then I just used some extra Velcro strips. You make sure you save all of your extra little ends of Velcro. You might have these little 1-inch, 2-inch, 3-inch strips at the very end, but save that, because what we're gonna do is, and let me see if I can do this, you can see that I just took the extra Velcro and just picked up that slack and went straight to the source, and it saved me so much time and so much frustration. So I basically, from the light, came here. The weight of this cord, if you don't do that, if you just kind of pull it and rely it to hang, the weight of the cord will cause this light to unstick and it'll want to fall. So the more that you can take the weight off of here by using these Velcro strips, it doesn't pull tension on the light and they stay up substantially easier. Every now and then, because we are in the summer here in Louisiana, so things get a little warm. This room stays really cool, but again, sometimes the heat can cause the glue these are stuck on with just Velcro. So I can basically pull that light off and Velcro it right back if I want to, if I need to make any adjustments or move it or take it out for any reason. But basically you want to pull all the weight off of the wires. And then back here where they all collect, I kind of took each wire, bound it up, put a little zip tie on it and tucked it. So there's just 6 little loops of wire that just hang there, and they all go right to the power supply. And then the power supply goes to one small surge protector that just has 3 outlets, because I got a set of 6 and a set of 6. So those 2 go to 2 plugs. Those 2 plugs go into a little 3-prong surge protector. That surge protector goes into the wall with a remote control device. So I'm gonna try to do this and film at the same time, but I have a little remote here. The sound is the remote hanging on a hook right here. I just leave them. So I just hit this one switch and you can see it comes off, comes right back on. And I don't have to go back there, I don't have to touch anything, do anything. I just hit that one switch. I'll turn around and let you guys see. That's the remote hanging on a hook right there. So each one goes to a different case. And then this is a good way to see it. So my lights go into a little surge protector here, and then that little box is a module that receives the information from the remote and turns all of it on at one time. You can get those at Walmart. You can actually just get them right in the store. They sell them in packs of 3 or as individual little cases and remotes. So that's a big update, and that will save you so much time, you guys. If you've ever messed with these cases or you're thinking about doing this project, this is gonna save you literally a few hours. Just cutting the vinyl itself will save you so much time. The fact that the tape, I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but the tape, this vinyl electrical, it actually comes off of the acrylic. So if you don't lay it perfectly or you get a bubble or anything like that, you can literally pull the tape right off of the acrylic and relay it again. It re-sticks really well, but the vinyl over here is designed to stick really, really well on things outdoors. So once you stick it on that acrylic, it's really on there. You can pull it off, but you can kind of see it distorts the vinyl a little bit. This is definitely easier because the tape has a little rubber in it and it's got some flex. Makes everything so much easier. Guys, the amount of time I saved doing this one and this one compared to the first one, I thought the first one went pretty smooth and quick, but just like anything, the more you do it, you find better ways of doing the whole project. And so I wanted to share that with you because I think doing these was just so much more pleasant of an experience than doing my first one, but you live and learn. Also too, I wanted to share with you guys an update on the room itself. So I have since added this track lighting here. Had a electrical buddy come over and I told him, look, this is what I need. I went ahead and bought it all from Home Depot. Each track comes with 3 lights. So you can actually pop the cap off, or you can take the cap off of the light itself and then add more. Once the light clicks into the track, the connection's made and you can add more. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 tracks that come with 3 lights. So we have 1 track here, 1 track here, here, and here. This one right here is from the same company, same everything, but these lights are a little larger, but they are kind of handling their own wall themselves. So I figured I went with a slightly larger light here because just this one track was kind of running the show for this whole wall. So let's talk about the switch I chose. This is actually the switch here for the light. I'm gonna try to get where we can see this, but you know, you can just hit it. I love the delay of it going off. You touch it. So it's got a fade and fade out, so it's not too jarring. And then this is just touch sensitive. So we basically just slide our hand down and really create whatever kind of mood we want. Bright, the full brightness is pretty bright. It looks good, but it's really, really bright. So what I like to do is go about a little less than half. And I feel like that sets a really cool mood for all the statues. When you put these spotlights and they have these strong shadows on them, it really gives just a better sense of realism. I love the shadows it casts on the wall behind. You know, it's almost like they're lit for a film or something. It just looks really, really great. Got our two tubes here. With the light on him, he just looks absolutely fantastic. It really brought the room to another level. Let's check our femto. Let's check out our Zod here. So the lighting hitting these guys just changed everything. I knew track lighting did a lot, but I severely underestimated how heavy it would hit. It looks really, really good, and everybody notices it. They come in and they're just like, wow, man, the lighting in here is unreal. So again, just another little update here. You can tell I still have space because these cases just are so awesome and have so much room and they can hold so much. I'm actually gonna be taking out these 3 cases here. We're gonna do away with detolfs altogether because I'm getting out of smaller figures and smaller statues. And I'm actually gonna do one more of these. So you notice these are 2 sets. I'm gonna take one more here, put it here, which is gonna leave me a little bit of a gap, but my girlfriend had a really great idea of like adding some plants or adding some reeds that would cast a really cool silhouetted shadow on the wall behind here. So that was a great idea because this gap would have just driven me nuts, but she's like, hey, let's get some really nice potted fake plants and it'll bring some more color and a little bit more life into the room and it just won't be a pure art gallery vibe. So I'm definitely gonna do that because that was such a good idea. Now that she's mentioned it, it's all I can think about. But I just finished these, so I'm gonna enjoy them for a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and get them filled up, and once they are filled up, then we'll be moving on to the extension here. I also have this wall that's now available, and I've never had this wall open before. There used to be detolfs here, so this has potential to be something really cool. I really love the idea of maybe a little arcade cabinet so I can actually be in here and play games and enjoy the room instead of just standing here and staring at statues. So again, I wanted to do a quick little updated room tour for you guys. So we got this new piece of this new print back here. I will have to, I know the artist's name is, I'll have to look. It's escaping me because I'm trying to think of it right off the top of my head, but I subscribe to his Patreon, and if you subscribe, you get HD files of his artwork. And I have a friend in the printing business in Austin, so I sent him the file, and he printed this gorgeous print of the God Hand. Found a nice little frame for it. It fits behind. We have another piece coming here. Eventually, this whole wall will be Berserk. Everything's gonna be Berserk. Even the bookends of Guts' sword holding the books here in the center, that's kind of what's gonna happen so that we can still have access to this beautiful print. Dave Raposa, I believe is his name. I'm sure I'm butchering his last name, so I'll put a little note or tag him down at the bottom because his artwork's amazing. He does a lot of hyper-realism, anime, and just a bunch of other stuff, so I highly recommend checking that dude out. But this is a little update. There's first statue here of the Flash. Goes really, really well with this Saitama. The reverse color pattern on the clothing, sharing the same concrete, how dynamic they both are. I would read this book for sure. I would love to see Saitama and the Flash hook up in a universe, and when you have statues like this, you can have them sharing a space and kind of imagine what that might be like, but wow, that would be pretty amazing. So again, I realize we have some Star Wars here and some Star Wars over there, but as statues come in, we're gonna start rearranging things and really just start creating little pockets and little themes throughout the room. The two tubes here is actually a cosplay that I worked on. That's a 3D printed helmet. The hoses are 3D printed. All the paint is done by me. My seamstress friend did the clothing for me, which still need to be weathered, but for the sake of taking the spot and just filling in the gap, I went ahead and stuck him there. The Sand Trooper here is a custom figure that I did from a bunch of years ago, made the pauldron, made all the leather pouches and everything, and I love the Sand Troopers. They're one of my favorite. This Millennium Falcon here is one I painted for our TV show on Netflix, The Toys That Made Us. So if you guys seen The Toys That Made Us, the very first Star Wars episode, they do a reenactment of filming this movie. So the Millennium Falcon in that scene is this one right here. I painted it for the show. It was a lot of fun. I love seeing that. People love to text me and say, hey man, I'm seeing your Millennium Falcon here in the show. So that's always fun. I also love to build Gunpla and a lot of Gundam stuff, so these are all ones that I've built, and I've painted all of them to some custom painted perfect grade. This is unpainted. All these guys are painted with the exception of one on the end, and these are some dioramas that I did myself. If you guys saw this stuff before, you probably have a better appreciation of the work that goes in here, but got some World War II vibe. Yeah, so all of the stuff that I painted, I really get into it and enjoy it a lot. The bus has a lot of fun details. So again, that'll all find new homes. Maybe on this blank wall, we'll do a shelf as statues start arriving and we start filling in these gaps. Basically ignore the D12s here. Those are all getting replaced and changed out. That's very temporary for right now. And then we're going on to more of the Dragon Ball stuff. Again, more wall space for art, which I'm a huge print collector. I actually have a problem. I'll be the first to admit it. I'm not allowed to buy any more prints. I have to find homes for all the ones I have now. So, but this Vegeta print back here with Vegeta fighting Uzaru Gohan's one really, really great. I love it. And so yeah, we have a lot more stuff coming on the way. These are some 6 scale stuff going on. I said I'm gonna stop getting 6 scale and just go quarter. But damn if these 6 scales don't just look amazing. So I really, really love them. They're really good, especially this Paragus. People are sleeping on this Paragus. Only 50 of these made. The detail of him is absolutely amazing. So again, here's a little Hammerpede statue. I actually painted this myself. It's hard to see all the details behind the glass, but he's not done. He's just on the back burner until the studio finishes getting set up. 1979 Kenner Alien for the vintage collectors there, fully complete. But yeah, I painted that guy. He was a little resin kit, and he's still, all the base layers done, but he still needs all the grime and wet and spit and detail, so that's on the way too. But again, just wanted to give a little room update on what's happening and get you guys up to date with how to make these cases smoother, easier, cheaper, faster, better. So if you guys have any questions at all, please shoot down a comment. I'll be happy to get with all of them that I can. Definitely let me know how it's going with your builds. I want to see how your shelves are doing, how you guys are, if you guys find out a better way to do any of this, let me know and share it, share it, share it. Let's try to get these as easy and as affordable for everyone as possible because they look so good and we deserve good looking displays for all of our investments with these statues. So again, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and give us a thumbs up if you like the video. That really helps. And click that notification bell so you can stay up. So if I end up updating these case videos even further, you guys are up to date and we can make this as easy as possible. Thanks to everybody who has been subscribing to the channel and interacting in the comments. It's awesome. We are slowly creeping up on 400 subscribers. Whenever we get to 500, we're gonna do a really cool little giveaway. I got some ideas, so it's gonna be some pretty fun and interesting things. We're gonna do a little a pack, a little box, if you will. So go ahead and like and subscribe, tell your people, share the video, and once we get to that 500 subscriber mark, we are going to do a drawing for a giveaway. We'll talk more about that as it gets a little closer. Thank you guys for going on the journey with me. This has been a lot of fun. I've been learning a lot, and keep collecting, take care of your investment, and we will see you next time. Bye everybody, thanks.